Hi, this is going to be a video that's just going over domain and range because a lot of people did confuse the two on the last test. So hopefully this will help clarify things. Okay, so first of all, you have to know the definitions for domain and range, and you can just simply say domain is the set of all x values, and range is the set of all y values. So when I think of domain, I want to think of x, and when I think of range, I want to think of y. So the x-axis goes from left to right, so you're basically looking to see how far to the left do you go and how far to the right do you go, okay? So if I look, I'll see that there's double sets of arrows on each end, so the domain would be all real numbers or the double infinity. So for domain, it's going to be all real numbers or the double infinity, which is negative infinity to positive infinity. Okay, now the range. When I look, I do see the double arrows towards the top, but when I look towards the bottom, there seems to be a minimum. So I'm going to name that minimum, and then I'm going to go to infinity, which is obviously higher, okay? So it looks like the y value of that minimum is right around here, which would be 3. So that's 3 to infinity. And again, there's a couple of ways you can write that. You can also write the inequality, y is greater than or equal to 3. It is helpful if you know more than one way to say the same thing. Okay, so again, domain is the set of x's, range is the set of y's. So domain. It looks like it stops right here, and it stops right here. So if I go to the left, okay, I'm going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It looks like negative 5. 1, 2, 3. So that's going to be negative 5. And since that's a closed circle, I'm using a square bracket. And it looks like it goes over to 8, but I'm going to double check that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And again, that's a closed circle, so that's a square bracket. Now range, I'm going to go to blue, so that might help you guys. All right, so this is range. That's the lowest it goes, and this little bump right here, or that turning point, that's the highest it goes. So the lowest it goes looks like negative 3, and the highest it goes is positive 2. Okay, and I'm just going to erase the marks I made so that I can double check, because it's really hard to see when you have those marks there. Yeah, so they're both closed circles, so the square brackets is right, closed circle, okay? Again, you just kind of have to think of it as how far to the left, how far to the right, how low and how high, okay? All right, so I'm also going to show you maybe with a highlighter it helps. So with a highlighter, you can kind of see those numbers as well, okay? All right, so remember, domain is x, range is y. Okay, so if I go to the left, it looks like there's this endpoint right here, and that is at negative 4. So for my domain, I'm going as low or as left as negative 4. And then there's this arrow here, which means it keeps going. It goes on forever. So that would be positive infinity. Okay? Then if I look to see how low it goes, that would be the y value. And it looks like the lowest it goes is positive 2. So that's going from positive 2. And again, you can see how it's arching up. It's going to continue to arch up, so that's going to also go to infinity. Okay? If you have an equation and you put it in your graphing calculator, you can kind of look at the numbers. But when you're given just a picture, you just have to look left, right, low, high. Okay. So here we go. All the way to the left is negative 1. All the way to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And again, it's square brackets because those are closed circles. If those were open circles, you would have that curved bracket, which looks like a parentheses. Okay, now the range, it goes as low as here, right here. That's the lowest point. And that's at -2. And then the highest point, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, is up here. And that's at 5. And if it's part of a solid line, it's considered a closed circle. Okay, max. The max and the min you get from the range. So the max is 5, the min is -2. Max and min are just y values. It's not an ordered pair. That would be called the coordinates of the max or min, or the coordinates of a turning point. Coordinates is ordered pair. Okay, now name, oops, I scribbled instead of erase. Name an interval that is increasing. So if I look at it, it's increasing from right here where it turned to way up here where it turned. So it's increasing from 0 until when x is 3. And you can name that whole interval or just a part of that interval. So if I look at this thing, it starts on the left and it decreases, it turns, and then it increases, and then it turns and decreases. All those places where it turns, these are called turning points. It turns at a turning point. All right? I hope this helps a little bit. And if you have other questions, please email or ask in class and come to Extra Help. I mean, we have Extra Help a lot. Haven't seen some of you yet.